Have you ever written a letter so angry, so full of frustration, that you had to stop yourself from sending it? What if that letter, sitting on your desk, held the power to change the future of an entire nation? That's exactly what happened in the summer of 1863, right in the middle of the American Civil War. Imagine the scene. It's July, just after the Battle of Gettysburg. The Union has won a monumental victory, but President Abraham Lincoln is far from celebrating. He's furious. He believes his top general, George Meade, let a golden opportunity slip through his fingers. General Robert E. Lee's Confederate Army was trapped, vulnerable, with the flooded Potomac River at their backs. One final, decisive push, Lincoln thought, and the war could be over. But Meade hesitated. He was cautious. His army was exhausted, and he didn't want to risk the victory he'd just secured. Lee's army escaped back into Virginia, and the war would drag on for nearly 2 more bloody years. Lincoln, pacing in his office, was overwhelmed with disappointment. He grabbed his pen and paper and poured all his frustration into a letter addressed to General Meade. He didn't hold back. He wrote, "I do not believe you appreciate the magnitude of the misfortune involved in Lee's escape. He was within your easy grasp, and to have closed upon him would, in connection with our other late successes, have ended the war." The words were sharp, accusatory, dripping with a commander-in-chief's deep sense of a lost chance. This wasn't just a critique, it was a condemnation. It was essentially telling Meade, "You failed. You let peace slip away." Can you imagine receiving a letter like that from the President of the United States? It would have been crushing, a career-ending blow. General Meade, the hero of Gettysburg, would have been publicly and professionally humiliated. His reputation would have been shattered. The morale of the entire Union Army, which was already fragile, could have plummeted. The political fallout would have been immense, with Lincoln's opponents seizing on the internal conflict as a sign of failed leadership. The entire command structure of the army might have been thrown into chaos at the worst possible moment. But here's where the story takes a fascinating turn. After writing this blistering letter, Lincoln did something remarkable. He paused. He folded the letter, placed it in an envelope, and on the outside he wrote, "To Gen Meade, never sent and never signed." He put it aside. Why? Why did he write it if he never intended to send it? This is the secret genius of Lincoln's leadership. He understood human nature. The act of writing the letter was a release for him. It was a way to process his own immense frustration and disappointment, to get the anger out of his system, but sending it. He knew that would do more harm than good. Blaming Meade wouldn't bring Lee's army back. It would only create bitterness and division. It wouldn't help win the war. It would likely make it harder. Lincoln realized that what was needed wasn't blame, but unity. What was needed wasn't a scapegoat, but a leader who could inspire and hold the nation together. So instead of sending that angry letter, Lincoln chose a different path. He chose empathy. He later reflected on the situation, saying, "How could I criticize him? If I had been there, I might have done the same thing." He put himself in Meade's shoes, acknowledging the immense pressure and exhaustion the general and his troops were facing. This moment of quiet reflection, this decision not to act on his anger, was a pivotal moment of leadership. It showed a level of emotional intelligence and strategic thinking that went far beyond military tactics. This unsent letter is a powerful symbol. It represents a choice between reacting in the heat of the moment and responding with wisdom and foresight. It highlights the difference between a boss who blames and a leader who guides. By pocketing that letter, Lincoln preserved the morale of his army and the dignity of his general. He maintained the stability of his military command and kept the focus where it needed to be, on winning the war and reuniting the country. A few months later, Lincoln would travel to Gettysburg, not to dedicate a battlefield, but to dedicate a cemetery. And there, he would deliver one of the most famous speeches in human history, the Gettysburg Address. In just 272 words, he would redefine the very meaning of the war. He didn't talk about military strategy or blame. Instead, he spoke of a new birth of freedom and a government of the people. By the people, for the people. Think about the connection. Could he have delivered that powerful, unifying speech if his mind had been consumed with bitterness towards General Meade? Could he have inspired a nation to look towards a future of unity if he had just publicly shattered the reputation of one of its heroes? Probably not. The decision not to send that letter was a private act of leadership that cleared the way for a public declaration of hope. The anger was processed and put away, making room for grace and vision. The unsent letter to Meade wasn't just about one general or one battle. It was a reflection of Lincoln's entire approach to leadership during the nation's darkest hour. He was constantly navigating a storm of criticism, political backstabbing, and personal grief. Yet he consistently chose the path of reconciliation over retribution. He understood that his ultimate goal was not to be right, but to unite. His personal feelings had to take a back seat to the needs of the nation. This single piece of paper, hidden away and never delivered, tells us more about Lincoln's character than many of his public decrees. It reveals a man who wrestled with his own anger, but ultimately let wisdom prevail. It's a testament to the idea that sometimes the most powerful action is no action at all. The words we choose asterisk, not asterisk to say, the emails we choose asterisk, not asterisk to send, can sometimes have the most profound impact. So the next time you feel that surge of anger and you're about to fire off a scathing text or email, maybe think of Lincoln. Think of that folded letter in his desk drawer. It's a letter that let a hero remain a hero, that kept an army's morale intact, and that allowed a president to lead his fractured nation toward a new birth of freedom. It's a quiet but powerful lesson from history. True strength isn't always in the attack, but often in the restraint. It's a story of how a secret decision, an unsent letter, helped shape the course of American history. Thanks for watching. If you found this piece of hidden history as fascinating as I do, make sure to like this video. Subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into the stories that shaped our world.